Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And you're looking at Omni True Value Hardware and their supplies of spreaders and also snow melt products like Mag Ice Pellets and Flakes and the well-regarded Pelado. And Omni is at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. They are the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, tri-state area's largest supplier of rock salt at the lowest prices anywhere. And their telephone number is 631-756-1125, so give them a call. And the website is omnitruevalue.com. So our storm system is, it pretty much behaved according to plan. We're seeing the storm here on the satellite, very impressive looking as it moves northward through Pennsylvania. And you're noticing, by the way, very large circulation that extends all the way down through the southeastern part of the United States. So this is actually pulling down colder air and bringing it fairly far south into the deep south and even into northern Florida. The storm had wide-ranging impacts from Tennessee and northern Mississippi across the deep south and then up the Appalachians and then much of the interior northeast. We're still dealing with some issues this morning with respect to what's still on the radar as of 8:15 Eastern time. And you can see here there's still rain happening from areas in and around New York City and New Jersey on eastward, particularly heavy rains in southeastern New England. Where the low is attempting to, a little bit of a secondary that's trying to form. The primary low is moving through Pennsylvania with the upper low through central Pennsylvania. Much of the heavy snows have kind of wound down in western New York and western PA, but we're still getting residual snows and even a little bit of lake effect starting to kick in to parts of eastern Ohio down into West Virginia and even as far south as eastern Kentucky and in Tennessee and in the North Carolina mountains. So we're not done yet, but I think the worst of it is pretty much over with. Weather conditions in southeastern New England are going to be a little rough this morning until the heavy rain gets out of the way. But later on today, as everything starts to really push to the north, we will begin to see some general improvement here going forward. So after that, we're going to calm things down just a little bit, and we'll take a look at where the weather models are taking us over the next couple of days. I think going forward over the next 2 weeks, you're going to see a continuation of what we've been seeing, where you get, when we look at these models that come out, every run tends to be handling everything differently. In the overall scheme of things, it's going to stay cold and it's going to stay active. But there are a lot of working parts to everything, and we saw what happened last week on how things started with the storm and how it wound up. And I would say that we're probably going to see some very similar things in the long range with weather systems running around, a lot of active parts in the atmosphere, and nothing is going to be clear until we get into the short range. So here's our storm. It pulls out. We're going to turn colder and drier, and then we're going to actually moderate a bit on Wednesday, but you'll notice there's another big high coming down, and there's another Arctic front, and this front is going to approach late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Now, the front is going to go by, but you'll see that there's some models are generating a little bit of snow there in Kentucky and Tennessee and West Virginia. There's a weak wave that's going to be on the front, very weak, and it's probably going to come through after the front passes, so that's why we're seeing models like the GFS and the NAM, for example, producing a little bit of snow during Thursday morning. I think it's certainly possible, and it's a sort of situation because it's a weak wave that if there's enough cold air that comes in behind it and temperatures fall below freezing, somebody winds up with a coating to maybe an inch, possibly as much as 2. I mean, that's probably the maximum upside here because we don't have a developing low. Then after that, this is where all the working parts start to come into play because we've got a wave that moves off the East Coast on Friday. And then we have another low that develops in the Gulf of Mexico on Saturday. And depending on which run you look at, sometimes the models are taking this further north up the coast, other times taking it out to the east. And then at the same time, here comes another Arctic front approaching with a high, and yet another storm system as we move into the middle of next week. And that moves to the northeast. So again, there's a lot of pieces here, and every time we are going to look at these things from day to day, we're going to see different outcomes. My general view is we have that system on Thursday, and then I think we're going to get something either late in the week and early next week, or perhaps toward the middle part of next week, or quite possibly both systems could be in play, depending on how it all plays out. Now, I will show you what the Weather Prediction Center is saying in their longer range. So this is the period now from, we'll look at Thursday into Friday, and they're really not doing very much with this, this Arctic front, other than to show a little bit of snow in parts of southeastern Virginia and into North Carolina. So they're basically saying that the wave development here, even as weak as it is probably going to be even weaker. The next period to look at would be Friday into Saturday. And here we have a 10 to 30% chance of snow from as far south as southern Alabama and southern Georgia, and then all the way up into southern New Jersey. Then on Saturday, that area pushes northward to up over Long Island, southeastern New York, and into southern and southeastern New England, and then it's still left over Sunday into Monday from southern New Jersey on north and east. Now, it's not going to snow for 4 days in a row, but it just goes to reinforce what I said earlier about the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty with all these short waves running around and a lot of working parts in the atmosphere. So again, expect changes as we go forward with all of this. Weather in 5, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1125, offering the best prices in town on rock salt and, of course, all the other snow melt products, and maybe you need a new snow blower. They've got those too. So head on over to Omni or visit, give them a call, 631-756-1125, 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon on Long Island, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So as we watch this storm heading on up to the north and east, just want to point out there's still a number of winter weather advisories and even some winter storm warnings that are up from northeastern Pennsylvania on up through upstate New York and in New England. Those are set to gradually expire as the day goes on. But at this stage of the game, we're kind of at the end of things, particularly in areas from eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England, rather than being at the beginning of it. So I'm not going to. That's why I didn't really spend too much time regarding where there's still advisories up, because most of them are going to be coming down if you're watching this video later on today. So we're taking a break today after a long, hard stretch last week. No Joe and Joe weather show tonight, but Joe and I will be back tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time on my YouTube channel, Joe Chaffee. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel using your Gmail account, because this way you get notifications every time we do a show. And by the way, we do shows 5 days a week and sometimes 6 or 7, depending on how stormy it is out there. So you don't want to miss it. The Joe and Joe Weather Show, again, tomorrow night at 7:30. Also, for those of you who are interested, I have a subscription platform on Patreon, patreon.com/meteorologist Joe Chaffee. You'll find links to it on this, the describer to this video and elsewhere. It's a great way to support what I'm doing. Subscriptions start at $2 a month, and it offers extra weather analysis, extra videos. If weather is your thing, or if weather is important to you, maybe you're in the snow removal business and you need some extra guidance, there are higher tiers available as well. And this is kind of how I earn my living these days, and I do have to eat like everybody else. So anyway, that's patreon.com/meteorologist Joe Chaffee, and I do appreciate those of you who have joined. Do appreciate your support. And one thing that's really a positive thing, it takes you away out of the what goes on Facebook. So you don't have to forecast shop. You get everything here, and including my own never to be humble opinions about what's going to be happening weather-wise. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.